So Lynn asked this question in our free group, Women Over 50 Get Active and Healthy. And it is, I struggle to be healthy and fit so I can continue doing the things I want and I need to do to live happily and independently. So one of the things that I was thinking about is as we age, we become more aware of the activities that seem to get a little harder than once they used to be, for example. And we start to realize that if we've got those limitations now, maybe in our 50s or 60s, then what's it going to be like when I, get to 70, 80, 90? And how is that going to impact my independence and how I actually live each day? So have you had this question before?
Oh, absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah. People
What was your...
realize that things are becoming a little bit harder.
Yeah.
And it's funny because it's almost like we all hit one age, It's that we have our 40th birthday, and then on day one of being 40, we realize things are getting harder.
Yeah. Or we start
I
to
find
notice...
it funny.
Yeah. Or we start to notice, there's a little tweak there, my back's a little bit sore or something.
Yeah.
And what we can tend to do, though, is like ignore it and hope that it goes away.
Yeah.
And it doesn't go away. It just gets worse as well, too. And I was thinking about it because I actually had a phone call from someone who was interested in our program this week. And she actually asked the same question. She said what she was noticing is her mum has had to go into aged care. And so she is over at her house trying to clean up, get things sorted. And she said, just even getting up and down, it's just not happening. And she's just really noticing those things that she used to be able to do a little bit harder. And like she's only in her 60s.
Yeah.
And so, and that going into aged care would be right in her face right now.
Yes.
And living independently.
Yeah. And this is the thing, is that our parents are living longer, so going into aged care, they're not going into sometimes 80, 85, 90, and we're up in that, late 60s, early 70s sometimes. So and we have to do things like that. I have my next door neighbor, her parents are, I think, 87 and 84.
Yes.
And she's early 50s. And she said, I'm dreading the day I've got to pack up mum and dad's house, because they've been there for so long, and there will be so much she's going to do.
It's massive.
To do physically. Yeah,
it is massive. I know your neighbors and everything like that. So that's going to be a massive job. And that's where, encouraging them to make that decision for themselves earlier in life is a little bit better. For myself, with mum, when dad went into care, she wanted to move out of the house that she was living in. And it was one of those over 50s villages and everything like that. She had heaps of friends, and I've gone, oh, mum, I don't think that's a wise idea. Well, it was like, no, I just want to walk up there. So I want a house that's close by to her and to him. And I'm going, so we're going to be looking for somewhere to buy that's in this, this little tiny area that's close to the facility that he was going into. Anyway, long story short, there was no changing her mind. And the only thing we could find was a 4-bedroom house for one person.
Yeah.
And so, we pack everything up, we move over there. And I said to her, look, this is just silly, moving out of a smaller place, a 2-bedroom place, into this place. It's just silliness. But anyway, she wasn't having it. But the wonderful thing, well, it wasn't wonderful, but when dad did pass away, she was at least open to going to a smaller place. So, she's now in a little block of units that only have 8 they're all 80 and above, everybody who lives there. They all look for the blinds going up of a morning, so they all take very good care of one another. And that's lovely that they can all still live independently as well too. But she's made a sound decision for herself, with a little bit of encouragement along the way. And I think that's really important. I know that, your neighbours probably don't want to move out of that house, but, it would be something that would be so beneficial for them to be able to enjoy, other things in life.
He scares me sometimes because he waits for his daughter to go to work, and then I look out the window and he's up a ladder with a brush.
I know. Yeah, I know. It's like he thinks he's 10 foot tall and bulletproof, right?
Yeah.
But
that's the whole thing of what Lynn said, and that magic word is living independently.
Yeah.
We don't want to give that up.
Mm-mm. No, it's like giving up the driver's license, isn't it? We're going to fight for that thing. Yeah. Exactly. So let's talk about some of the things that we can do, or some of the activities that we can do that are going to help us live independently, and happily during our life. And I think, look, it's a no-brainer, Sel, that we have to start with a regular exercise routine.
Mm-hmm.
Absolutely. It's a no-brainer. But what we need to do is think about breaking that exercise routine into, let's say, 3 different components. We've got to do the cardiovascular exercise, because that's what's going to be good for our heart. We need to do the strength training, because that's what's going to be good for our muscles and our bones. And then we need to do the flexibility training. Now, the flexibility training, I'm going to include mobility as part of that as well too, because that means that our joints are going to move, better, and we're going to have a better range of motion, being able to reach for things, reach up high, get down low, all of those types of things. So I think, the wonderful thing about that flexibility and mobility training is that it reduces that risk of injury as well too. And when we talk about strength training, I think that we probably don't think about the benefits of strength training as far as flexibility is concerned, nor stability as well too, because, when you're doing a squat, you are also working on your core.
Yeah. And it's interesting. I had a conversation on Wednesday. I teach a cycle class, and one of the girls over there, she was talking about Anthony's circuit class that he does on the Tuesday night. She said, "Oh my goodness," she said, "I think we did like 300 squats." She said, I don't understand what the point of a squat is." And I said to her, "It's a functional foundation movement." And she went, she's just looking at me blank stare. And I said to her, I said, "Think about every day where you squat." I said, "You sit down on your couch, you get up." I said, "You sit down for dinner, breakfast, lunch, you get up." I said, "You get in and out of your car." I said, every single one of those movements are squats. I said, "I know I bang on all the time about, the only reason we squat is so we can use public toilets." I said, "But you've got to think about squatting in everyday life." And it was like a light bulb went on, and she's gone, "Yeah," and the lady that was next to her, she said, "I've never really thought about it like that."
I'm really pleased that you brought that up, Sel, because one of the things, I was just talking to a personal trainer friend of mine as well too, and she was talking about, how she does functional training. And I said, "Do they actually know what functional training is?" I said, "I don't think we do. We're hearing the word more and more now, but we don't think about as trainers, we don't think about that person that we're actually working with probably doesn't get what we're talking about. And it is about, what are the things that we need to do in everyday life? We need to bend down, we need to squat down, we need to reach up, we need to be able to rotate. So there are so many fundamental things that our body needs to be able to do. And that's what this functional training is all about, is like, we're giving you exercises that mimic those movements in life.
Yeah, absolutely. I mean, you think about, you think about your wheelie bin, wheelie bin night. Do you
Yeah,
push your wheelie bin out or do you pull your wheelie bin?
yeah.
So when you think about pushing, you're going into that strength move, that weight move of a chest press.
Chest press,
You know,
yeah.
when you're pulling it, you're going into that move of a tricep kickback.
Mm,
And I think it's so important for people to um, learn about that functional movement and where it relates
absolutely.
to in your daily life. Yeah.
Yeah, absolutely. Absolutely. So, I think we can't actually get away without mentioning balanced nutrition as well too.
Mhm.
You know, because one of the things that happens as we're aging now, I don't know whether you've noticed this, Sal, but I definitely have, that you don't feel like eating as much as you used to.
No.
You have noticed that? You haven't noticed it?
Yeah.
Mm.
I have noticed it. Yeah. Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, and
Yeah.
you don't feel like it. But, we do have those different types of things that we have to be aware of. Protein is so, so important to us for us to be able to, build and maintain those muscles. And so we want to prioritize protein on our plate.
Mhm.
And so I often say, if you're going to skip something, skip the rest of it, just eat the protein.
Okay.
Not that I'm suggesting you do that on a regular basis, but you know what I'm saying. And I think that, there's so much out there that tells us, we should follow this type of protocol or that type of protocol or that type of protocol. And a lot of it means that we're missing out on different nutrients from different types of foods as well too.
Yeah.
And we really just have to focus on having some type of balance in what we're eating. We need to have fiber, we need to have protein, we need to have good healthy fats, and we do need to have carbohydrates because that's going to give us some energy. So I think that we just need to get to those basics.
Yeah. I was just back to basics.
Mm,
There's so much pre-prepared food these days. You walk into a
oh,
supermarket, and it doesn't matter. You can go into the rice aisle and you've already got a little pot of different, rices with different, tunas added into it or whatever. You go in
yes,
the frozen section and there's all the pre-prepared meals. And like you can go in there now and there's a pre-prepared meal for everything, you know.
yeah, absolutely.
Quinn asked me a few weeks ago, he said, "Oh, Mum, can you get me some of those um, high protein meals?" And I'm like, "Oh, okay." So go in there and there's, these muscle chef or
Yeah,
muscle something meals,
there's 1,000 different
um,
varieties. Yep.
yeah,
Mm.
you've got your lean cuisines, you've got your Weight Watchers, all those sort of meals. And sometimes that can be very overwhelming. So I'm a
Oh,
big believer, get back to basics.
yeah,
We've
absolutely.
always said a um, rainbow plate,
Yeah,
Yeah.
yeah, absolutely, absolutely. And the other thing is, I just think just trying to avoid as much as we can those, processed foods, as you mentioned, the sugary snacks, things with lots of salt in them or lots of saturated fats. If we can just try to stick with that, and I'm not that whole food based eating, but and I'm not suggesting that you don't have the treats, but treat the treats like a treat, not an everyday occurrence.
Mm.
Yeah,
Everything in moderation.
yeah, totally.
Mm.
And I think if we're going to talk about nutrition, we really have to talk about water, because
Mhm.
one of the things that I know, particularly I see this with my mom, she can get through the whole entire day till lunchtime. We're sitting down to have a meal, and then I say, "Have you had any water today?" No, no, nothing. She may have had a cup of tea this, in the morning, but that's it. So here I am with, filling up a glass, and her glass is this big. It's not even
Yeah.
200 mils type of thing. So she'd be lucky to get away with 600 mils in the day. And that hydration is just so important for our
Oh,
body to
yeah.
function.
And because it's not just hydration. Hydration is not just quenching your thirst.
No.
It's everything inside. It's your skin, your hair, your cells, gut health.
Yeah.
Your intestines. Bowel health.
Mm.
Everything. It's
Yeah.
not just quenching your thirst.
No, well, like every part of your body, you know,
Mm.
as you said, your bones, your blood, your brain, everything has a water content to it or a fluid content to it, except for fat. It doesn't.
No, yeah,
That's why water's so good.
yeah. And once again, relate it to, you think about your car. Would you just keep driving your car and not put oil in it?
Mm,
No, because your car will seize up,
it will. Yeah, it
Yeah,
will. Yeah, yeah. I also think, Sal, we need to mention sleep and stress management. You know, getting good quality sleep is really important. And one of the things that happens when we go through menopause is we get that disrupted sleep pattern. And so what we want to do is once we're through it, you know, and we've got some normality happening, or the new normal, let's call it the new normal.
yeah.
Yeah, we want to start to retrain ourselves. And that's one of the things that I noticed about myself when I went through menopause. You know, I was waking up and then I couldn't get back to sleep. And so I'd get up and wander around and I'd go to the toilet, which is just the
Mm.
worst thing on earth because all I'm doing is weakening, you know, my muscles, my pelvic floor muscles. And it was just stupidity on my behalf. But so then I went, this is ridiculous. I'm just waking up and I'm getting up to go to the toilet and I don't even want to go to the toilet. Why am I doing this? And so I would force myself into staying in bed, and if I had to put on some relaxation music, some delta waves or something like that, I would do that. And so, just take some deep breaths and I would go back to sleep. And so I did have to go through that retraining process of getting better quality sleep.
Yeah. And if you do struggle going to sleep or staying asleep,
Mm.
those delta waves are amazing.
Mm.
Absolutely amazing. And you can get them off any, like down music app.
Spotify, all those types. Yeah.
Yeah, YouTube, all those sort
Yeah.
of things, but they are amazing.
And I think having some type of regular wind down process is really helpful as well too, because a lot of us will get home from work, as an example, and we'd be or looking after grandkids, and we're exhausted. So we do what we have to do, and then we sit in the lounge and we go, and we've gone to sleep. And so we're out for the count. And then what happens is we get up and we go to bed, and we can't sleep because we're woken up again. One of the things that will happen is that we may not have cleaned our teeth already. So we go to the bathroom and then we put the light on. So we've got all that bright light in the bathroom that we're being exposed to, and that definitely wakes us up again.
Definitely.
So,
And all those thoughts, I think one good wind down one is journaling, getting all those thoughts out. I found myself going to bed, at night time, and then you lay there and you're just thinking about the stupidest stuff.
oh, totally.
It's just ridiculous. And it might be an argument on Facebook that you've been reading and, reading all the comments, but then you go to bed and you're thinking about it, and then that's working you up even more. So I think journaling is very important
Yeah, absolutely.
as a wind down.
Yeah, and it's great for a wind down, but it also covers off two things, doesn't it? Because it's also about that stress management,
Yeah.
that deep breathing, those delta waves. So all of those things are very, very helpful for calming you down, and making you feel a little bit better. Just being able to get outside is also beneficial as well too.
Yeah.
First thing in the morning, that helps you have a better night's sleep. So there's just so much that you can do to help yourself, and it means you've got better energy levels, you're helping your immune function, and just generally feel better overall.
Yeah.
Yeah. I also think we need to mention regular checkups, those health screenings that, a lot of the times we avoid that stuff, right?
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Especially nowadays when, I know myself, I'm very lucky because my doctor is a block away. So
Yeah.
we're very fortunate in that we can ring up and say, is he running on time? Is he,
Yes.
is he running behind or whatever? And a lot of the time we put off going to the doctors because it could be a matter of, well, I don't have 2 hours. to wait for my appointment, or I don't have 3 hours to wait
Yeah.
for my appointment. So we just keep pushing it back and not going and getting things checked.
Yeah. And the other thing, Sally, is when you feel great, you generally don't go to the doctors as well too. Or,
Yeah.
there can be that thing in your head, oh my goodness, I'm starting to get older. I'm going to put my hand up on this. I'm starting to get older. And I don't want to have all those same health issues as my mother. So therefore, if I don't go and have them done, therefore I won't know about them.
Yeah. If I don't test, I don't have it.
Yeah, exactly. Exactly right. But just recently I wasn't feeling well. And it turns out that I had a virus, and that virus had impacted, my liver and how it was functioning. And, it just took a little bit of time to get back on top of it. But as a direct result of that, I got the stool test, and I got the blood test, and I got the scan of all my organs and everything. And look, I'm a little champion. I'm going great. Which is, it makes me feel so good, because my grandmother had all of those things at a young age, all of those preventable health issues. My mother had them, and I know that simply by changing my lifestyle, I have been pushing them back, and I'm going, okay, I don't think I'm going to ward them off forever. But hopefully I do. But it's when you get into your 60s that they start to creep up, and we've just recently heard this from one of our trainers who, she went, I wasn't expecting that. And so it was just really satisfying, I suppose, to know that everything is on track and I'm going well.
And I think it's so very important that people remember that they are preventable diseases. So even if your parents have those sort of issues, heart issues or diabetes or any of those sort of issues, they are preventable. So you can do something about it. And as and I think a lot of times we go, well, mum and dad had it, so I don't, as I said, I don't want to go to the doctor and find out, because we then get in our head and go, oh, I've probably got it.
Absolutely. Absolutely. The final point that I wanted to bring up today was to stay socially engaged. And I know this is a big thing for me, because everything I do, Sal, I live in the country. I'm online. The highlight for me is to go to the local shop. No wonder I'm standing in the grocery line talking to people. That's my social engagement.
Yeah.
So, and I do enjoy my own company, but I often think about the fact that we do need to have, those good, solid, close friends. We could have lots of acquaintances, over social media and everything like that. And I know a lot of people, but it's those people who know me intimately that will be there if I call up at 3 a.m. in the morning that says I need help, that they're going to be there for me. We have to have those people in our lives, and it can't just be our family. It has to be outside of our family as well too.
Yeah.
So also, if you're getting out and about, I think it's good for your brain as well too, because it's going to stimulate you. You're in a different environment as well too. So I think that's really good. And maybe just doing puzzles and reading and learning new skills. That's a big thing
Learning
for me.
new skills.
Yeah. I think that's wonderful, and maybe even volunteering, if you're feeling lonely, that could be something to actually think about.
Yeah.
Have you got anything else you want to add, Sal?
I just want to add, just remember, ladies, like I know Lynn said, as she's aging, she wants to keep staying active and healthy. Now, I just want to give an example of my sister, Katie.
Yeah.
So Katie is, what am I, 54? Katie's
She's
45.
40. Yeah.
Yeah, 45, 46, yeah. Katie's been through a lot of health issues over her life. And 3 years ago, she gave birth to Lincoln, who was IVF baby. And she put on a lot of weight.
Yeah.
Going through IVF because she had to go through early menopause and
Yeah,
lots
absolutely.
of stuff. And I was listening to her speak yesterday. She's lost 25 kilos, right? Now, Katie has been a trainer for 15 years, 20 years as well. You know, she teaches fitness classes, so she teaches a lot during the week, but she was still struggling with her weight. Now, she's lost 25 kilos. And I loved to hear her say it yesterday. I changed what I was doing. You know, so she changed the way she trained,
yes,
and the way she eats, and going back to what we said previously, her nutrition now is high protein.
Yeah, that's right. She's focusing
Yeah,
on it because, you know, she's in her 40s now. You know, and we're not saying that that's the only thing that you should
no,
eat. No, but it's definitely a priority for us. And I know that what can happen is it can be the thing that gets littler and littler. You know, we
yeah.
eat less protein. So, yeah.
And also, you may need to change your
Oh,
thought pattern from what you were doing 20 years ago with your nutrition and your
really?
training, because, yeah, as we get older, things change.
Yeah,
What worked back
absolutely.
then is not working now.
Absolutely. Absolutely. Love that. Love that. So I think in finishing up, what's really important here is to listen to our bodies, prioritize ourselves, and celebrate ourselves along the way. But yes, definitely change it up.
Yeah,
Because if you've been doing it for, you know, a couple of months and you're not seeing results, it's probably time to change it. And it could just be a small tweak. It may not
yeah,
be massive. It may
mm,
just be that small tweak.
yeah.
Thanks for joining me, Sal.
Thank you for having me, as
You're
always.
very welcome. Thanks for joining us, ladies. Hopefully you got something out of that. And if you did, make sure you comment and let us know. See y'all. Bye.
Bye.